everybody, I am Dr. B and I am going to be your guide through this course. During the next 15 weeks, we are going to begin looking at the ways that we can incorporate meaningful writing practices into our content areas. For me, that means ELA, but I know that many of you will be engaging with this content with lenses that are inspired by multiple other content areas. I am very excited to work with each of you, and I will come back to some of the specifics of the course at the end of this video, but I want to introduce you to this week's content. So in order to do so, I want to start with the objectives that are listed on the syllabus. As a part of this course, we will read a variety of research teaching articles dealing with various aspects of written composition. We will explore the concepts and processes of composition. We will expand our conceptions of composition beyond just print-based texts, and we will share some best practices from research. And by best practices, I mean core practices that stand at the heart of writing instruction. So we will also explore writing strategies in conjunction with the practices of everyday life. We'll explore writing in terms of literacy tools. We'll explore writing as a mode of thinking and of learning. And we'll explore connections between writing and visuals. So Appleby and Langer provide us with some really great questions to think about as we traverse the content of this course. First, to what extent does present-day writing instruction reflect good practice, as indicated by research and policy statements on learning to write? How do content areas teachers outside of English language arts, as well as English language arts teachers, address the disciplinary demands of writing within their subject areas? And how does the larger context for instruction, including the standards and assessments of individual subject areas, alter the writing experiences that students have? Standards for writing are not limited to ELA alone. While Appleby and Langer outline the Common Core State Standards and the Introduction to the Next Generation Learning Standards for New York State, the Department of Education identifies standards for literacy across history, science, and technical subjects. The link to this document can be found at the top of our syllabus and on Schoology. But here are some of the highlights. So first of all, they identify that literacy should be a shared responsibility across content areas, that a definition of literacy should foreground writing as a way to acquire and build knowledge, and that standards that place emphasis on students' development as they write to learn. So Appleby and Langer indicate that shifts in technology usage have also impacted the role that writing plays in learning. This includes how students are using technology as a part of their writing. Think about it. When was the last time that you looked at a book for information or wrote a substantial piece of work with pen and paper? Why don't we leverage these tools in classrooms more? Why aren't we shifting our approaches to writing to include technology? And I'm not just talking about word processors like Word. Yancey 2009 also makes this argument in her report for the National Council of Teachers of English. She urges us to accept the opportunity to create new models of writing that support our students' 21st century literacy practices and their impulses to write. Embedded in the historical perspectives of writing that have influenced the development of our curriculum today, she encourages us to reframe writing beyond assessment and refocus our attention to writing that supports our students as visual authors as well as narrators of life. So what about social writing? I don't know about you, but when I was in school, writing was something we did by myself for a grade. I didn't write with people, and I definitely didn't collaborate on essays or get feedback from my peers. I wrote for my teacher, and they gave me the grade. Things are a little bit different now. Besides having the capability to collaborate with online tools, the impact of technology on writing has also given us opportunities to shape our audience. Shifting our role as the expert can also enhance students' writing experiences. What happens when we expand the audience to include not only students' classmates, but those beyond the four walls of our classroom? Let's think about the different kinds of writing you do every day. Let's use Daniels and his friends to help us think about this in terms of private and public writing. On pages 14 and 15, they talk about writing to learn and public writing. Now, I want to pull that back even further to think about the things we write for ourselves and the things that we write for others. So take a second to think about some of these things. So, what do you have? Now, Think about how much of what you wrote includes pictures of any sort. Anything? Pictures count too. The first thing we need to do as a part of this course is we need to change how we perceive writing. We need to shift our definitions of writing to include all of the ways that we communicate. Because after all, isn't writing in its simplest form a mode of communication and meaning making? Daniels et al. Argue that we aren't paying close enough attention to the writing that students are doing outside of school. We aren't paying attention to the things that students are creating. Instead, we're asking them to rely solely on words and respond to questions that we ask them to respond to. We often limit their audience and determine their content, even if we let them choose their individual topics. So, what happens if we let them be authors in their own learning? Like Daniels et al. State, students are doing more authoring than any young people in the history of the world. The trouble is, many educators don't see the writing that they are doing as relevant or meaningful learning tools. Well, why not? As we move forward in this course, we will use the term writing to refer to any process that results in the creation and dissemination of knowledge, learning, and meaning. This may sound complicated, but I promise it'll begin to make sense as we move forward. For now, think of it this way. First, I wrote some notes as I read the chapters in preparation for this week. Then I wrote the words that you're listening to right now. Then I wrote the video that accompanies these words, and then I combined them together to write the announcement. Does that make sense? If you're still not sure, it's completely okay. What we need to do is tap into kids' out-of-school authoring experiences. Daniels et al. Also state that kids are composing and publishing with or without us, and we're not building a bridge from what they are writing to what we know and can share. In short, we're not engaging them and we're not giving them opportunities to develop and explore their writing within these spaces. We are not giving them opportunities to offer their lives as a part of the learning they do in our classrooms. Think about it this way. Without the coaching, modeling, feedback, and reflection that we can offer them as teachers, their writing is limited and growth in the subject areas will be incomplete. So what does this mean for your subject area? Well, that depends. Think about the way that knowledge and meaning are created and shared within your content area. Think about all of the things that you might want to teach students about and how writing plays a role in that. For me, it's simple. My content area is English language arts. But when I think back to my own education, I think about all the times I had to create something in my social studies, science, and even math classes. What about you? So, what does that mean right now? Well, over the next 15 weeks, we're going to look at reframing what it means to write and all of the tools we can use to help us engage our students in meaningful writing practices. We're going to look at the use of inquiry, technology, and digital writing, visual writing. We will introduce the idea of writing to learn in regard to your specific content area as well. So, let's look at just the weekly expectations for you. On Monday mornings, I'll send out an announcement with guidelines for the week, but the reading schedule and the syllabus should always be your guide. Any content that is not from your textbooks is linked there. While the reading schedule is a living document, I will always alert you if I have made changes. So each week you will have tasks that in response to the content for the week. First, you'll compose a digital discussion journal entry. These journal entries will be your personal reflections in regard to the content from the week and will be prompted by me. These will be read only by me and will serve as a dialogue between just the two of us. The reading schedule will outline the content for the week and provide you with links to any content that is not housed in one of your course textbooks. These additional files will also be included in the folder for each week on Schoology. Your second task involves watching and responding to the video content for the week. This first week's video is created by me, but during subsequent weeks, the content videos will actually be created by you. You'll compose your own response to the video. This might be a paragraph answering some questions that were posed, or perhaps the authors might ask you to engage in an activity. And then finally, you will engage in conversation with 2 of your classmates' video responses. This is the part of class that serves as the discussion. The online courses that I teach rely on this kind of dialogic interaction. I too will participate in this. If you created the content for the week, you are responsible for engaging with all of your classmates. These responses need to be more than just, I liked it when you said this, or I agree with you when you said this. They should be in response to something that was said and further the dialogue that was started by your classmates. During 1 week of the semester, you will be responsible with a pair for creating the content presentation for the week. This video will serve as your example. There are detailed expectations for this on the syllabus, and I'd like you to think about this as if you were teaching a lesson to the class. This is an opportunity for you to engage in the creation of meaningful and digital content development. There are many platforms that you can use to write your presentations, and I encourage you to think outside the box. You will need to sign up for a week to present via the Google Doc that's in the Week 1 folder. There will be 2 presenters each week, and if both spots are already full, you will need to select another week. You will also need to check in with me the Friday before your presentation week and give me a brief idea of what you plan to do. Now, I would prefer for this to be a quick Skype or Zoom meeting, but if we can't make our schedules work together, email is just fine. During this week, please take the time to review the syllabus and post any questions you may have to Schoology. Also, please make sure to make a short video introducing yourself to the class. There may seem like there's a lot to accomplish in a short amount of time, but I assure you it's completely possible. This semester is going to be a lot of fun, and I really look forward to getting to know each of you a little bit better. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to post them in the Ask Dr. B forum on Schoology, or you can always email me. Have a great first week of class, and reach out if you have any concerns.